Hello, hello, and welcome back to the podcast. So happy you are here today. Happy holidays if you are listening to this live in December 2024. Cannot believe we are almost at the end of the year. We are at the end of the year. We have, as I record this, about 2 weeks left of 2024. And with the new year coming, many of us have goals, or we are thinking about goals, or we're thinking about maybe setting goals for the first time, or maybe you are a total pro at setting goals and achieving them. And that is what we are going to talk about today. But before you say, I know how to set a goal and achieve it, that maybe you do. That's great. But today I'm going to give you kind of like the energy piece behind a goal, not just the strategy, which it feels like so many coaches and experts and whatever, people love to talk about the strategy, right? Like, here's how you do it. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. We are going to get into that. I am going to give you the strategy, but I am also going to give you the energetics piece. And the energetics is huge. It's big, okay? It is, in my opinion and in my experience as a certified life coach and as somebody who has achieved goals, that the energetics piece is the key, okay? So first we're going to talk about the energy behind goal setting, and then we are going to talk strategy. Sound good? Okay, cool. Let's go. Okay, so the energy. What do I mean by that? If we're going to talk about this in steps, because I am a visual learner. I like to see it all mapped out. So if you're the same way, I'm just going to kind of give it to you in steps. So step number 1, when you're thinking about a goal, is decide, make the decision, okay, that this is what you want. And it doesn't have to be crystal clear. It doesn't have to be a SMART goal yet. If you're like, what the hell is a SMART goal? I'm going to get into it. But decide what you want. It sounds simple, but that doesn't mean that it's easy. For example, I've heard people say, oh, I'd really like to make more money. That would be so nice. It would be so nice if I could just lose some weight. It would be really cool if I could quit my job and become a business owner. Okay, I was there. I literally said that for years. But I didn't come to a place of clarity until much later. So clarity equals power. Okay, once you are crystal clear and not wishy-washy on what your goal is, you will get real results. So wishy-washy equals wishy-washy results. Clarity means clear results. Okay, so it's clarity. So as we are talking about clarity and not being wishy-washy, I am going to give you a SMART goal because it fits in really well here. You need to know what a SMART goal is when you are defining your clear goal. It's the best way to do it. So let's just say here that Sally, we're just making up a character. Sally is in a job she doesn't love right now. And by the end of next year, so December 2025, she would like to make more money and secure a new job. So, and this, let's say the salary is $100,000. Okay. So here is a SMART goal. And by the way, okay, let me tell you what a SMART goal is. So S stands for specific, M stands for measurable, A stands for achievable, R stands for relevant, and T stands for time bound. So here's a SMART goal taking into account what I just shared with you. Instead of Sally saying, oh, it'd be really nice It'd be really nice to make more money and have a new job. That'd be great. Here is a SMART goal. By December 31st, 2025, I will secure a new job with a salary of $100,000 or more per year by updating my resume and LinkedIn profile, applying to at least 5 targeted positions per week, networking with at least 2 professional clients monthly, and enhancing my skills by completing 1 relevant certification or training course. I will track my progress weekly to ensure consistent effort and alignment with my career goals. Do you see how that is so much more clear? It is definitive. It is smart. And let's go through each letter again. So specific focuses on the $100,000 a year salary and outlines very clear actions for Sally. Measurable tracks applications, networking, and improving Sally's skills. So that part is measurable because she can track how she's done that throughout the year, since her goal is to secure this job by the end of next year. Okay, it's achievable because it leverages actionable steps to reach the goal. It's relevant because it supports career advancement and financial goals that she's set for herself. And it's time-bound, targeted completion by December 31st, 2025. So as you are getting clear on your goals, think about them as SMART goals. So that was clarity, having the power, and creating your SMART goal. Now you know how to do that. Now let's go back to the energetics piece, okay? My personal favorite. So that is clarity, and now you know how to structure your SMART goal like a freaking boss. We are going back to the energetics piece. My personal favorite is to talk about energy. So what does this mean? And this is the freaking key to achieve whatever you want. You make the decision and you have the belief behind it. Because without the belief that you can achieve this goal, even the best goals, the most achievable goals, are out of reach. If you don't believe that you can achieve them, if you're like, it would be nice to achieve this SMART goal, you have it written out, but if you don't have that core belief, it ain't gonna happen. It's not going to happen. So anytime that I set a big goal, and usually my personal goals are big, they're audacious, they sometimes seem impossible, and I will share a couple of examples with you so that you can kind of see this in practice. But when I create these goals that are big, audacious, now, in the past, I did have goals and I did not achieve them because I did not believe they were possible. But now when I do this, I know it is possible for me. If I think it's not, I'm not even going there. I'm not even writing this goal down. Okay. So your belief is the foundation of action. If you do not have the belief that you can achieve this, you are less likely to show up, follow through, or take any risks. You have to have that belief in your ability to achieve what it is you are setting out to achieve. Let's talk about some common obstacles before I get into some storytelling and sharing how this works in practice as far as having beliefs goes. So here are the top 3 that I hear most often regarding belief in your goals. The common obstacles are fear. Usually it's fear of failing. Number 2, past disappointments. Like in the past, I've set this goal. It didn't happen. I didn't follow through. I disappointed myself. I disappointed so-and-so. So it's just not going to happen. Number 3 is comparison. We've all heard the phrase or the term comparison is the thief of joy. And in this case, oh my gosh, yes, it is. So if you are feeling any of these things, you probably have, or you do have some limiting beliefs. So the quickest way to flip these common obstacles, the fear, the disappointments, comparison to others, is to reframe. Here's something you can tell yourself. Think of this just as like a little micro coaching moment here. In coaching, we can go very deep into limiting beliefs and knock them on their ass, all those limiting beliefs. But here's a reframe for you. These feelings are natural, regardless of which one it is you're feeling, but they are not facts. Your past does not define your future, and your belief can grow as you take action. So try to reframe. If you are having any of these obstacles come up around goals, or you're thinking about goals, maybe you haven't written them down yet, but you're like, I'm scared I'm not going to achieve this. So I'm not even going to write this down. Or I've disappointed myself before, so I'm not even going to write it down. Or I'm comparing to her and she did this and there's no way I could do it. Use that sentence I just gave you as a reframe. You've heard me mention action a few times, and that is because action actually creates evidence. When you put action behind your goals to achieve them, it will strengthen your belief. So if you can start so small, first step, writing it down, having a SMART goal, pat yourself on the back. That is action. What is the next step you can take? That is action. So every tiny little micro step that you can take is proof that you can achieve this goal. Okay. So action behind belief. So let's talk about a real life example of this belief and action interplay. There was this woman in the 90s, had this big dream of becoming an author. She had an idea for a book. She really wanted to start writing it. She did start writing a little bit here and there. And as she was writing this book, not super hardcore, but a page here or there, she was writing. She was caring for her mother who was sick. And her mother sadly passed away and she stopped writing. She wanted to completely change her life. She wanted a fresh start. So she moved from the UK to Portugal. Met a guy. She was, I think, working temp jobs, met this guy. Her friends did not like him. She got pregnant and had a baby. And then this man became abusive. They got married. I don't know if I mentioned that. They got married in there. She had a baby. He became abusive and she had to leave. She had no job, nowhere really to go. So she went back home to the UK with her baby. Okay, so she was super depressed. She was able to secure a teeny tiny apartment. She had a weekly stipend and she had to take a loan from a friend just to survive. She had her daughter. She was working in a cafe and she decided, okay, I'm going to resume writing this book that I've always dreamed of writing. So her outlook at this point was, I want to do this for my daughter. And she went on a mission to finish this book. She set goals for herself. She did it. She had this belief that this book would be huge. She took it to a publisher when it was done. And this was in 1995. The publisher rejected it. She pitched it to a dozen more publishers. They all rejected it. If this isn't belief, I don't know what is. She kept going. She went to another publisher, and this publisher that accepted her manuscript offered her a £1,500, this is in the UK, advance. And the book was published in 1997. And not even 10 years later, this woman becomes the first female billionaire author. Can you guess who it is? This is J.K. Rowling, author of the Harry Potter series. She had an unshakable belief that this book was going to hit it big and she was going to blow up, and that readers everywhere were going to love this series. Okay. So that's J.K. Rowling. Not have the belief in herself, and she was rejected over and over again that she would keep going. Probably not. She had an unshakable belief. So that is what I'm trying to paint for you today, is you have to have the belief that this will happen. If you don't, maybe it's not the goal for you right now. Maybe you want to switch gears. And we're going to talk about different facets of your life and who you want to be in creating these goals in just a minute. I'll share another story, and this one is mine. So 3.5, I'm trying to do the math. Yeah, it was 3.5, 4 years ago. My husband and I lived in California. I have told this story way back when on the podcast. We lived in California. We wanted to move to Arizona, and we had a date in mind. So we had a very smart goal. It was not easy because my husband worked in an office in California that he could not take with him to Arizona. Okay, so there were roadblocks. It wasn't like we could just pick up and move in a second. Okay, so we had a goal, and it was in a short time frame. I was pregnant with my daughter, Zyla, and we wanted to move before she was born. So we had a goal of moving by the late summer of 2021. So this was over 3 years ago. And we had made this decision, like I said, when I was pregnant. So we had, I think, maybe 5, 6 months, if I'm thinking about this correctly, 5 or 6 months where we made this goal and made it happen. So lots of things had to happen. My husband had to find a new job, and we had to figure out insurance, a place to live, yada, 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 all of this stuff. And I won't bore you with all of those details, but it was not easy. Our life was pretty rooted in California. However, we wanted a fresh start. We wanted to change our environment. We wanted more space, all of these reasons. And this was a shared decision, but we both had the unshakable belief that this would happen in this short period of time. Okay, so it was 5 or 6 months, and we made it happen. Every day of the week, so Monday through Friday, there were things we were doing and breaking it down. And I'm going to get into that kind of strategy piece for you in a minute. But it was the belief. We knew that this was happening. It was happening, which is just so different. When I think about it for myself, in the past, I had wanted to move, or I'd wanted to go somewhere, go on a trip and say, yeah, it'd be nice to go to Hawaii in October. Didn't happen because I didn't have the belief. I didn't write it down. I didn't go through the actions to make it happen. Okay. So the belief is so key, and I can't harp on that enough, because when you have the belief, despite the law, or in spite of the law of physics, yes, there are some things that we just can't do because of physics. But other than that, it is possible for you. It is available to you. That door will open for you. Doors will open for you if you have the belief. Okay. So hopefully those two stories, and I think I said at the end of my story that we moved. We made it happen. We made our move in August of 2021. My daughter was born in October 2021. And it was the best decision that we made. So that is belief. Hopefully that hyped you up. If you are like, I don't know where to start, let's get into how to map out your goals, how to know where to start with your goals. If you're like, I have no idea. If you're on that wishy-washy list, like, yeah, it'd be nice to do whatever. Here's what we're going to do. Number 1, purge everything out. Write down everything you want to accomplish. Doesn't matter what it is. Don't edit yourself. Don't censor yourself. Don't be like, that's too big of a goal. That's, I don't know. Maybe I want to do this. Write it all down. Do like a brain dump. And to help you kind of curate this brain dump, you can write it all down without these next steps, but I think this is going to help you kind of divide it into sections. Is think about spheres. So the first sphere is yourself. And some questions to ask yourself as you are doing this brain dump is, what do I want to learn? What do I want to get better at? What do I want to create? What do I want to contribute? Ask yourself those questions. What changes to my style do I want to make? What changes to my home do I want to make? What changes to my environment do I want to make? On this podcast and with my clients, I talk all things mindset, style, environment, just a very holistic picture. So it's key to ask yourself those questions as you are improving yourself, growing personally. Very, very important. The next sphere is relationships. And here are some questions to get your brain turning and moving and grooving. Who are the most important people in your life? Actually list them out. What visits do I want to have with these people? Maybe it's a vacation. What kind of adventures do I want to have with these friends, family, significant other, kids over the next year? What specific habits, changes, or experiences do I want to have in my relationships? Next sphere is career or business. So some questions. What goals or projects do I want to focus on in my professional life? Do you want to, if you're a business owner, do you want to launch product? Do you want more clients? Do you want to expand your team? Do you want to write a book? If you are in the corporate world, do you want to brush up on your resume, on your LinkedIn profile? Do you want to ask for a raise, get a promotion, do more networking? So ask yourself those questions. I do these exercises all the time and it feels so good. You will have just like a massive amount of energy, hopefully, when you finish. So after you've done that, after you've done your brain dump, what I want you to do is ask yourself these 3 questions to help you kind of weed out those goals, because that was a lot I gave you. You can totally go for it, go for all of those things. But here's what I want you to ask yourself. What do I want my life to be like 1 year from now? Be as specific as possible. Number 2, how would I like to spend my time over the next year? And number 3, who do I want to become, or what kind of person do I want to be in the next year? When you ask yourself these questions, the previous brain dump list will kind of fall into place like a puzzle. So now you have your SMART goals. And by the way, please write them down. Write every single SMART goal down. I want to tell you about this study really quick of a kind of the psychology of goal setting and the findings of this particular study. I will link it in the show notes if you want to read it. But people who actually saw their goals through and committed to their goals were 42% more likely to achieve them just by writing them down. Is that wild or what? 42% more likely. So write down your SMART goals, okay? So once it's written down, now we're going to plug in all of the actions that you are going to take to achieve that goal. If it's not scheduled, it ain't real, my friend. So what I want you to do is go over each goal. Maybe it's just one goal. That's cool. That's totally fine. For every goal that you have, you are going to add one major item to each month of your calendar around that goal. So if you know a project is going to take several months to achieve, then you're going to keep adding these projects to your calendar until it's all accounted for, if that makes sense. And I want to challenge you to be aggressive but also realistic. We talked about the law of physics earlier. So new projects generally, or new goals, take longer than initially expected usually. So add buffer time as you are adding these big projects around these goals each month in your calendar. So what I encourage you to do is kind of have a map. And I'm going to tell you about a class that I'm doing in a second around this map. But you're going to have your months listed out. Okay, so January, February, etc. In January, you're going to list out a big to-do around each goal that you have. If it's just one, then it's just one thing. And then you are going to break it down further in that month. So to achieve this project, here's the micro steps I'm going to achieve. So think of it as you've got this big block on top. In the big block, it says what it is, what the project is around this goal. And then there's going to be 4 to 5 steps beneath it. And you are going to list that out for each month. If this goal is time bound by the end of the year, then each month you'll list it out. If it's not, that's great. So that's why, going back to the SMART goal, if you're like, I don't know how to even map this out, having the SMART goal is going to tell you. So for example, if your goal, and if you're going to achieve this goal by December 2025, then you're going to have a project each month, January through December. If your goal is 3 months, then this can be January through March, if you get my drift. So having that SMART goal is going to help you plug and play with this map. Now, here is my invitation to you. I am hosting an action board class. If you're like, what the hell is an action board? An action board is kind of like a vision board, but it's in action. Everything we just talked about, goals. So this action board is going to be pretty like a vision board, but we are going to create your yearly goals map around your action board. So it's going to be creative. It's going to be energetics. It's going to be fun. And I'm also going to do some coaching. We're going to talk about beliefs more than what I shared on this episode. We are going to talk more about energy. We are going to talk about limiting beliefs and challenging those limiting beliefs. And we are going to build these action boards that you can then focus in on throughout however long your goal lasts. You can join this if you know what your goals are. You can join this if you have no freaking idea what your goals are. Wherever you are at, you are welcome and invited to join. So I will leave a link in the show notes to sign up. Spots are limited. This is happening in January when we're hopefully all revved up to move and groove on our goals. Okay, so you can click that link in the show notes. This will be live. If you can't make it live, you can totally watch it later if you sign up. So with that, let's go crush our freaking goals. I can't wait to see you in class if you choose to join. And with that, I will chat with you next week. Bye.